Hi, this is Mediocre LP, and I bought this game on Steam. This is Star Raiders, which is a 2011 remake by Atari and some other people. Maybe it was just published by Atari or uses the Star Raiders name. But anyways, I bought this game because it looked cool. I really just looked at the screenshots, and I thought that the art design was great. It looks cartoonish in a good way, and I thought it would be a unique type of space shooter. And it is. I think that unlike a lot of... Sorry, let me turn that volume a bit. I think unlike a lot of space shooters, this one has an emphasis on freedom of movement. Some of the games I've played... Whoa. Some of the games I played reorient the camera, like as if you're traveling on a horizontal plane. So, like, you go like this, and then it just flips you back to horizontal plane. But I feel like in space there is no up, so that seems ridiculous to me, and just encourages... I just ran into that thing. It just encourages flat level and quest designs. So I really like the fact that you could do a full range of movement, including strafing. Let me get to an area where I could show that. Right up close to here. But yeah, you can strafe all around. This game has different modes, which I didn't realize right off the bat, because you go into options like you normally would. Well, first off, I tried the PC controls, like mouse and keyboard, and those just absolutely suck. I'm playing this on Steam. It's a PC game technically, but it uses the 360 controller much more effectively. So I thought that these different attack modes that you see up here, I thought that those were just presets that you could use, because I wasn't paying attention, seeing that there are some options unavailable on any of the three. You usually just start up out at the top of the menu and everything looks the same. See? But no, actually they're modes that you use the D-pad to switch to and from. And this is attack mode. Wait, let me make sure I got that right. Attack mode. Yeah, that was attack mode. I wish it would just be like something to do with flying forward quickly, but that's basically what it is. And you can use heat-seeking missiles in this mode and use a booster. And then there's assault mode, which you can get around more easily and do strafing maneuvers. And then there is turret mode, which is this, which gives you little to no range of movement, but you have a high-powered like machine gun, so it's good for, I guess, getting in close on a stationary target and just blowing it away. But I think that it's the least useful of the modes. Usually I find myself switching from attack and assault. Attack to fly into an area, because assault and turret, you never get anywhere fast enough. You can hardly tell that you're moving at all in space sometimes when you're too far away from objects. once you get up close, I switch into assault mode, and then you can strafe around to avoid their fire. Well, I'm not doing a very good job. I did dodge a few of their attacks. See, they're missing a little bit more. But anyways, I need to get out of here. On the left side of the heads-up display, on that partial circle area, you'll see yellow and a faded out blue. The faded out blue means that I have no shields left, so any damage is being taken out of my energy, and my energy is what powers my booster and also my special weapons, regular weapons to a lesser extent. And I'm looking for those blue blips on the map, because those should charge me, except they're hard to find sometimes, charging stations. But those are what you want to be near when you are low on energy and shields. Actually, this is one. And you want to switch to a mode like this so you don't keep flying past it. It gives it enough time to go a couple of times, and then you're pretty much fully charged. But these guys keep attacking me, so let me get out of there again. Damn, still have no shields now. Anyways, this is one of the later levels. This game isn't actually that difficult from what I've seen so far. It might just be that they make the early levels purposefully easy. And they sure are. But the control sticks I'm getting used to, and I really don't recommend using mouse and keyboard for this game. And there are some things that I haven't figured out what they're good for yet, like countermeasures and EMP. Those are a little bit more difficult to use, because you have to press left on the D-pad and one of the fire buttons at the same time. But yeah, I'll maybe get into that later once I figure out how to use them effectively. Jeez, there are a lot of enemies in this particular level. Yeah, I'm probably like about 5 to 10 levels into this game, so it's just now getting a little challenging. But I'd say that this game is a good experience, all in all. It just takes some figuring out, because there is no voice acting aside from the crappy little animated intro. So the tutorials are boring and don't really do a good job. Like, normally tutorials will stop you and have you do certain specific things, like maneuver around first and whatever, but this kind of just drops you right in and forces you to read text, and is not always entirely clear on what you're supposed to be doing. Still trying to... there it is. These things are so difficult to find sometimes. actually felt a little bad for the turret, so I upgraded its weapons first. Ah, jeez, where is this thing? Oh, there we go. One of the unrealistic but helpful things that happens is you can respawn, which makes it seem more like a multiplayer game, even though this is strictly single player. I find it helpful because I'm kind of ditzy. Oh, mission failed. Okay. Well, whatever. But anyways, what was I gonna say? I don't know. This, I guess, is the store, but I don't always see options to purchase, so I'm guessing that you can only access the store after a mission, and if you don't go right back to where you are, because sometimes I'm just like, okay, I beat the mission, but I'm gonna destroy some asteroids to get myself some money. And then I go back to this screen, it looks the same, except there aren't options to purchase, so get that when you can, and if you just need money, go and shoot some asteroids or something. But since I'm easily distracted from what's more entertaining, I'm just gonna go back into the missions. What was I gonna say? Oh, one of the things that I've tried to do is customize the controls, but then I just keep going back to the regular controls. One of the things that I thought was silly is that the directional movement is, for the most part, analog if you're using the controller. See, I'm moving with the left analog stick, changing my pitch, nose up, nose down, and this is turning directly left and directly right. This is not analog by default, at least in the attack mode. Let me see. No, not in that mode either. And not in that mode either. So yeah, that's by default not analog, and so I thought that since that's directional and it could be important to do minuscule changes, like trying to narrow in on the target that's on the screen, like having to go back and forth like this is difficult. I was like, why not make that analog? But when I did, what I found out was that it, as you can see on the actual ship, it moves the nose. So it moves where you're firing in a way that does not match up with the reticule, or however you pronounce that, the targeting icon. So notice I'm firing straight forward at roughly the area that my shot would go. I hit targets usually, but when I go like this, it moves off to the right a bit. So when you're trying to do minuscule changes, it moves the nose still. And even when you're doing minute changes, it moves the nose pretty much the same amount. So minuscule changes you have to adjust. If you're using, like, I use the triggers instead of the fire buttons, you have to adjust, like, oh, if I'm going to shoot that rock and I'm doing a little bit to the left, then I have to aim, like, right here. Although I couldn't really do damage to that rock because it's too friggin' big and they didn't program it like the game Asteroids to break apart into smaller pieces. That is kind of annoying. What just happened there was invisible wall turning me around, but that's pretty common in flight games and even space simulator games sometimes. This is divided up into sectors. It's not free roam. So yeah, I just keep going back to the default controls. One thing to note is changing through modes, you can get very different control schemes. Like this, when I use left and right on the left analog stick, it doesn't swivel my view. It doesn't change the pitch. It goes left and right. So when you change to this mode, left and right, this mode, left and right. So it takes some getting used to having those other things assigned to other buttons, but these really are... I found that it really is good to use the default switch back and forth modes, because usually when I'm just trying to get somewhere, I find it much easier to go like this and be more precise about the direction I'm heading. But when I'm in the midst of combat, it's much better to be able to strafe easily like this and to follow a target like that wherever he may go. And one thing that also struck me as a little odd was that in some space shooter games, you have to shoot ahead of the aliens. In this one, maybe it's just because the nose direction changes when you go left and right, but I found that usually when I hit dead center on the target with my reticle, that's when it actually connects. So I'm guessing maybe the ammunition, whatever I'm firing, laser beams, they either go so fast that it's like the speed of light, or it's lazy programming. But it looks like it takes longer to get there than it actually seems to, from a gameplay perspective. But anyways, it's just something to get used to, because other games do it a little differently. In Freelancer, it actually had a second reticle that followed your nose where your shot is actually going to hit. Like, it would move the reticle around as you're turning. In response to what you're aiming at, it would have like where you should hit, where you should shoot at to hit the target. So I don't know, just little differences. But yeah, I totally, when I just started playing this game, like I started it up, I thought that I completely wasted my money, because this game is so unpolished if you're not playing it with the controller, that if you don't have one, don't buy this game, basically. But yeah, I came back to it because I was deleting games on my local content to free up hard drive space. And I came back to it just because I felt kind of guilty about giving up on it, because I really did want to like this game, and now I've finally gotten to a point where it is pretty likable. power up again. It seems to not continuously recharge you. Yeah, one of the things I noticed is that in things like reassigning controls, you would think that if you're using the controller, even in the menus, that you would want to reassign with the controller the buttons. But when you click A, when you press A on the controller, it goes choo-choo! It's like, you're assigning it to the A button? No, I just pressed it once. So it's much better to use your mouse and click, and then assign using the controller. Just that one click. So really, the game, for the most part, controls well with the controller. The Xbox 360 wired controller is what I'm using. But there are some things that you need to use the mouse for, unfortunately. Like, if the game was better played using a 360 controller, it should be entirely usable by a 360 controller. It's like, might be nitpicky to some, but it just screams lack of polish when things like that don't work properly. And this game is fairly unpolished from a technical perspective, I think. It's not the most unpolished game that I've played, but there are some things that they, I think, should fix in patches. If they have any money for it. I don't know how well this game sold. There we go. That was the EMP that I tried to use. I was actually trying to use countermeasures, but that I forgot the button combination, so I think it was EMP. And I accidentally switched modes too. Whoa. Mission failed again, because I'm not really trying that hard. Whenever I'm talking over something, it always interrupts what I'm supposed to be doing. But that's okay. I thank you for watching and listening to this rant on a game that not many people may play or enjoy. But there is some good in it. Oh, okay. Forgot how to get to the next mission. There we go. And one of the things, if you haven't watched it, and maybe I've gone over some stuff that he's already gone over, but the Cynical Brit made a video called WTF is Star Raiders, and he's very critical of this game, and I think that his opinion is very valid because he was trying to play it with the PC controls. And also he noted that other reviewers didn't like the 360 controls, and I'm assuming that maybe they were broken back then, or maybe they're just too foreign to most people and a little too confusing, what with the switching of styles and the range of types of movements. It's not that easy to get into. But I like it because I like having those options for movement, and not all games have that. Oh, but on the map I was going to point out that there are all these different mission types, but pretty much you're always fighting Xylons, like the Cynical Brit points out, and it almost always feels the same. And since the story isn't very engaging, you're just reading text, and you don't really identify with the characters anyway, so even if it was good text, well, wait, no, I was going on a different analogy. Oh, I guess not. Even if it was good text, even if it was well thought out or whatever, there's nothing to engage me and care for the characters or whatever. So I'm just destroying the same enemies, different ways, different amounts, different restrictions, it seems, but it's really hard to notice drastic differences in what you're doing. At least for the amount of levels that I've played so far. Usually the games start you out with a wide range of things to be doing at the start, and then they all seem to get the same after a while. This one, maybe it just starts you out with just a few things and then builds upon it, but variety so far doesn't look like its strong suit. You're always just fighting these what look like triangles most of the time, because they're so far away and because the indicators are brighter. But yeah, I like the controls, I like the art direction, and it's just nice to play. I don't think this is really noteworthy so far as a title much different from other space shooters, but it's a nice relaxing game to just try out and go around, shoot stuff, switch between modes. I really like the mode switch. I think that works well once you get used to it. And so since I'm repeating the same old stuff, I'm just gonna end the video here. Thanks for watching. Bye.